Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
No one could have known it then, but when Daytona International Speedway opened in 1959, it marked the beginning of a new era in American motorsports. As a replacement for the old beach road course a few miles to the east, the opening of the high-bank 2.5-mile Florida Tri-Oval represented the leading edge of a wave of construction of big paved speed palaces. Before Daytona, Indianapolis was the only American oval track longer than 1.25 miles, and most racing took place on dirt ovals a mile or less in length. From the very first Daytona 500 won by Lee Petty in a three-way photo finish, those high banks proved a favorable venue for wide-open stock car racing. Daytona kicked off the growth of NASCAR as we know it today. Daytona International Speedway's infrastructure has grown and changed to such a degree that it would be almost unrecognizable today to someone who hasn't seen it over the last 25 years. It's an amazing motorsports facility. But one thing hasn't changed over the past 6 decades. No driver can consider his or her career complete without notching a victory at Daytona. From Dale Earnhardt, who captured the 500 in '98 after coming so close so many times, to 14-year-old kart racers whose racing resumes are just beginning. A victory at Daytona is a mark of distinction. Tonight, it's Race 1 of the PSRA Open ARCA Series, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Daytona International Speedway Race Number 1, Season 2 of the ProSim Racing Alliance Open ARCA Series racing this time. 100 laps the race distance tonight, 79-degree ambient temperature, 74% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 10-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers tonight working with a 100% fuel load. Unlimited tires available over the wall. We do have one fast repair to work with tonight, 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if so necessary. That fuel window should be about 30 to 35 laps, depending on how these drivers want to work that fuel strategy tonight. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Fast time, the 71 of Alan DeFries, a 47.430. Keeping in mind, these are drafting times. You're not going to see times like this in qualifying. Less than a minute left in the session. We'll get right into qualifying immediately thereafter. 2 laps to set the field. Further down the practice line here, Bobby Hamilton Jr. second quick, Frank Griffith third fast, fourth place Nick Hunt, Derek Welch rounded out the top 5. Josh Ingram, Derek Runge, LZ Daly, Rodney Roberts, Tom Bear, some new names in the league this season. Those of you watching, if you're not already in the stream chat, jump in there, say hey. Tell us who you're cheering for, where you're watching from. It is a place to socialize and gather, so have at it. Just keep it PG for the kids. Dominic Bettini in the Bojangles, number 49. It's the black and red flags drop on the session. Practice in the books. Looks like Frank Griffith will be the first driver to roll out. Griffith coming up to speed out of turn 4, working the high line there, trying to get as much distance around the track on this out lap. Build that momentum, may even keep it up top on this first lap. Some drivers will opt to do that. Try to get these engines wound out as fast as they can go. Usually takes at least a full lap. You got Dolly Wall in the chat out of Tampa, rooting for David Bradford. Dolly, thanks for checking in. Griffith still way up the racetrack, just about an inch off the wall. Griffith first lap in the books. Now he changes lanes, goes to the bottom of the racetrack. 51.210 is the lap. Thomas McMullen fastest with a 50.449. Switch over to Thomas here. Watch his second lap. Thomas in some new colors, the Krispy Kreme 02. Cole Ansley tops the charts now, 50.299. Ansley still top of the board here. McMullen crosses the stripe. He'll go from P6. Does he improve? No. Faster time, barely. 3,000ths quicker, but remains position number 6. Cole Ansley top time for now, 50.299. Does he better that lap? Plug check across the stripes. A little bit slower on lap 2. David Bradford Aeroworks driver Vincent Short on the Speedway. Likely a threat for the pole. Always runs well on these super speedways. Has something figured out here, especially in qualifying. Third quick, 50.329. Short goes from fourth quick. Stays fourth, slows down a bit lap 2. Lap 1 seems to be quicker for most of the drivers out there, at least for now. Now, speaking of quicker, David Bradford knocks Ansley off the top spot. Beats him out by 46 thousandths of a second. So Bradford fast time 50.253 for the number 13 Crown Royal Apple Camry. Mark Truxell on the Speedway. Truxell typically in a Lil Tate's Cupcakes paint scheme. See if we can get that worked out for him here pretty soon. Current top 5, David Bradford, Cole Ansley, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Vincent Short, and in 5th, it's Josh Ingram. Five and a half minutes in, 4.5 to go. Truxell goes 17th quick, first lap. Possibly a waste lap for Truxell. We'll see if he picks it up here on lap 2. Most everybody has been faster on their first lap. Truxell goes 9th quick, 50.361. Could just be me here, but Roberts doesn't sound like he's getting all the RPMs out of that motor. Derek Welch goes 2nd quick. Roberts across the line, 15th, 50.416. A little bit of a pickup on his second lap. Welch a little slower on lap 2, 50.381, still a lap of record of 276, puts him outside pole for the time being. Jason Steptoe slow on the backstretch here, only one lap in for the number 50 Air Force Mustang, 50.617, 22nd quick for the Roanoke, Virginia native. A couple drivers haven't taken the time as of yet, Eddie Rose and LZ Daly. Still about 2 minutes left in the session. They may opt to head out. They may not. Also, driver the 100, Nick Hunt, has not locked in a time. That may do it for qualifying. So with that, we're going to step aside quickly, get another break out of the way. We'll be back with our starting grid after this. Stay with us.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, let's take a look at our starting grid for race 1 of the season. On the pole position with a lap time of 50.253 seconds, it's the number 13 Bradford Aeroworks machine of David Bradford. Outside pole missed it by 23 thousandths of a second, the 1 of Derek Welch. In row number 2, it's the 86 of Cole Ansley and Bobby Hamilton Jr. Row 3, it's Vincent Short and Joshua Ingram. Row number 4, it's Will Jones and Tom Barish. Starting in the 5th row, it's Mark Truxell and Derek Runge. 11th starter, it's John Van Blaricom. In the 7-10, Chris Klein will start 12th. 13th starter, it's Mike Babinchak. And 14th is Matt Nicholson. Rodney Roberts will start 15th. Dominic Bettini will roll 16th. 17th starter, it's the 33 of Will Hewitt. 18th, the 02 of Thomas McMullen. Scott Millard will start 19th. Alan DeFries 20th. Keenan Kimber will roll from the 21st starting position. 22nd, Jason Steptoe. 23rd is Frank Griffin. 24th is LZ Daly. Nick Hunt will start 25th. Eddie Rose rolls from the 26th starting position. That's your starting grid here from Daytona International Speedway as everybody's starting to get gridded up. Still waiting on a handful of drivers to hit the grid before that pace car can roll away. And there we are, pace car rolling away. Getting another look here at the race details. 100 laps in the distance, 81-degree ambient temperature, 61% humidity, cloudy skies now. That has changed since practice and qualifying. A 9-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Handling could come into play here tonight. We'll see. Drivers working with a full load of fuel tonight. 30 to 35 laps the the fuel window. Unlimited tire sets available over the wall. 1 fast repair if so necessary. 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if so needed. Those of you watching in the stream tonight, there's some new names out here this time, and I'm invariably going to screw up some last names, so if I do that and anybody notices and they can help me with the pronunciations, just let me know. I do appreciate it. I won't take offense, because some of them are a little different.
Green flag.
And correction, 70 laps the race distance, not 100. Green flag is in the air. David Bradford out to the early lead. Cole Ansley in the second spot. A little bit of a connection issue for the 86, though, as he peeks out to the right side of Bradford for a moment. Exit to turn number 2. Driver still coming up to speed down the back straightaway. Lap 1 in the books. It goes to the 13 of David Bradford. Cole Ansley still in the second spot. Vincent Short runs third. He's up 2. Will Jones is fourth, up 3. But the 7-10 of John Van Blaricom up 6 positions from 11th in the top 5 already. The 7-10 machine. High voltage rocks. Chevrolet. On board with David Bradford, looking back at the second place driver, Colt Ansley. Ansley taking a look to the outside. Got to run. Bobby Hamilton Jr. giving a big push down the backstretch. Top 2 can drop down. Do they stay put? No. Bobby goes to the bottom, though. Ansley's slow to drop down. Bobby looks up to the right side again, trying to get some fresh air in the nose at number 25. Will be a competition caution at lap 20 in this race tonight. Only planned caution of the evening. Now Bobby Jr. makes a move to the outside, looking for the race lead. Up the banking off turn number 2. Meanwhile, Albert Anderson in the stream chat says, "Let's go, Team NTRL." Thanks for checking in, Albert. Some shuffling of cars further back in the pack, just outside the top 10. A few drivers being very careful to try and stay above that yellow line, especially through the tri-oval. Driver getting crossed up there. It looked like the 055 of Tom Barish. Held on to it. Barish running in the 7th spot. Derek Welch up the racetrack, scrapes the wall just a touch. Meanwhile, back out front, battle for the race lead again. Colt Ansley now to the outside with some drafting help. David Bradford, Will Jones getting it done. Both drivers drop down in front of Bobby Jr. Vincent Short runs in the 5th spot. Behind him, a battle 4-6, Tom Barish, Mark Truxell. They were side by side, but no drafting help for the 5. Derek Welch is going to get in line there behind Barish. Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton Jr. dropping back a bit. No drafting partners to work with now. Still early on, only 10% race distance. Bobby up top trying to find a hole to slot down in, but here comes Mark Truxell. Truxell's going to provide some drafting assistance to the 25, or is he? Takes a look to the outside, thinks better of it, ducks back in behind. Starting to get a couple of distinct packs here. Drivers just trying to get a feel for what they've got underneath them. Again, this is an open series. There's some adjustments allowed to the setup with these race cars, something we don't see too often here with Track Limits Network. Typically fixed setup racing, but not here. Meanwhile, Will Jones leading the pack on the outside lane there ahead of Derek Welch and others. Welch steps out, gets some fresh air on the nose of his Camry. Jones slots back down in front of him. Cole Ansley back out in front with David Bradford, Vincent Short, Tom Barish, Will Jones, the top five, at least for now, as Jones just gets a nose out in front of the sixth-place machine. In trouble! Derek Welch almost went around, bounces off Chris Klein, and goes back up the racetrack. Drivers still trying to make their own adjustments because of that. We stay green. Derek Welch is going to head to pit lane here. I don't know if this is by design. Again, we're halfway away. Oh, he's got some damage there, left front. Suspension damage, it appears, on the number one Camry of Derek Welch after that contact. Just amazing we didn't get a caution out of this. Welch into the pit stall, uses the fast repair early. I don't know that I would have done that so soon unless he's got pretty significant suspension damage. Going to want that fast repair likely later on in this event. But either way, 4 tires, fuel, repairs complete. Welch drops the jack, but did he get popped for speeding? Possibly, as he exits. That might be all she wrote for DW. That incident really separated the packs now. We've got a 6-7 car draft here with Ansley leading it, Will Jones in 7th as the caboose. Meanwhile, Mike Babinchak in the 8th position, all by his lonesome, likely going to slide backwards into the clutches of Derek Runge and the rest of that pack. It's going to be a bit of an advantage once he gets there. He may lose some ground, but he needs some drafting partners to work with. It's not going to work where he's at by himself. That said, too, these guys really need to get single file here. Again, we do have a stage that's going to catch everybody up. But if you get single file, you can really make some hay on those guys out in front. That near miss seemed to have gotten everybody's attention here, as this lead pack certainly going to go single file here, likely to the stage end unless something dramatic happens. Going to run this out until it's time to slow it down and hit pit lane. Meanwhile, Derek Runge now leading this second pack. Now, these guys are getting wise here. I think if they all run single file, they may be able to run down the leaders here and rejoin and become one single pack again. Derek Welch says he's out of this one. I guess he was running the qualifying setup. Again, open set racing, we talked about that. That is what the series allows you to do, but he forgot to change from qualifying to his race setup. Qualifying setup, to those unaware to how it usually works, it's kind of made to go fast for a lap or two, and that's about it. Typically, the motor is not going to last, neither will the handling. over the course of a long run in the race. So Derek Welch, on top of that incident, spinning or half spinning mid-corner, his day is done early. Top 7 largely unchanged to this point, with one change at the back of this pack. Will Jones up to 6th, with Josh Ingram, who's dropped now to 7th. Second pack getting racy here with about 5 laps to go in this first stage. Again, competition caution coming at lap 20. Nobody willing to step out of line here in the top 7 for the time being, so we'll go back and watch this battle still. Now we've got a third pack at the tail end of the field. Watching Mike Babinchak there in the 55, getting a little bit more than he's bargaining for from Scott Millard in the 69 machine. Aggressively pushing that 55, trying to get him out front and clear of Derek Runge. Just in watching Scott Millard, though, it does seem like that 69 machine a little bit unsettled in the middle of the corner. It's dancing up all over the racetrack. Now that very well could be limited visibility running in behind of the 55. He went to the inside, though, to make a move, and there's trouble. Ballard goes around.
Caution.
First caution of the night. We've got trouble. Thomas McMullen in this. He gets a huge chunk. Dominic Bettini, Jason Steptoe, Derek Runge, Scott Millard. Well, let's get a look. I don't know if Millard was chasing the car. We were talking about how that car seemed unsettled in the banking, or if he just didn't realize the 99 was there and he wasn't clear. Nevertheless, they met down low. The rest is history. Oh, Thomas McMullen got a huge piece of that one. I'll watch this one again, maybe on the in-car. Thomas. So, pit stops underway. Cole Ansley will lead them down the pit lane. David Bradford, Vincent Short, Tom Barish, Chris Klein, the top 5. A lot of gas only or two-tire stops. Leaders early taking 4. They're going to lose some track position here, but they'll be able to draft their way back through. So with that strategy, it's going to put Vincent Short as your race leader when we go back to green flag racing. Already some drivers saving fuel. In fact, let's go on board here with Short. Just coasting there. Looks like 300 RPM or 800 RPM. Hard to say. I think it's more like 8, but certainly not what they'd be cruising at down the backstretch. He's got the clutch in. There it goes. Picks it back up. And clutching it again. Pace car lights have gone out. We are on the 1 to go. So we'll get the restart next time by. It'll be lap 21. And I believe this will serve as our competition caution, as that would have been right now. We're going to go back green the next time by. So. Half a lap away from going back racing. Front row will be Vincent Short and Chris Klein. Short in the red, white, and blue number 15. The U-Haul 51 to the outside. That's Chris Klein. The 055 Tom Barrish. The 46 Will Jones. The 13 is David Bradford. And then the 86 to his outside is Colt Ansley. Will Hewitt in the 33. Mike Babinchak in the 55. Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Josh Ingram rounding out the top 10. Bobby in the 25 and Ingram in the 56. Pace car is in, green flag in the air. We're back racing at Daytona. Klein all over the back bumper of Vincent Short, pushing the 15 through turns 1 and 2. Now just about an inch or two off that back bumper. Oh, around goes Vincent Short. A little too much push as he spins down to the inside of the racetrack into that paved area. And now we got a big crash into the bus stop. Klein goes around. David Bradford involved in this one. Many drivers getting collected here just after the restart. Down the back straightaway, it started with Vincent Short and Chris Klein. Didn't catch the balance of it that put us under the caution flag. This will actually work out pretty well for Vincent Short because he was not going to get a yellow for that. Now the big wreck, that's a different story. Trying to queue up a replay here for everybody. Let's take a look. Here it is. See, Short spinning down the backstretch, and then it goes after that. Tom Parrish, a hard hit. Still unsure what's caused this. This might be the telltale. You watch the 51 here of Chris Klein and Tom Parrish in behind. They're off center, as you can see. We'll watch it quarter speed. Check up from Parrish. And now a situation where it's just bumper cars, chain reaction. Will Jones and Cole Ansley, they get away. Parrish going for a wild ride. We'll watch this from Eddie Rose's perspective. That was a massive hit for the 88. Well, 22 laps in here at Daytona, working caution number 2, and it was a big one this time. I do want to go back here and watch this incident with Vincent Short right after the restart, prior to the big wreck. We made note that Klein was pushing Vince through turns 1 and 2. Big push there, gets a little off to the right, and that's all it takes to send the 15 around. Vince did a pretty good job straightening this thing out, at least keeping it out of the inside wall, and then gets real lucky with that caution coming out right after. So he's going to be okay. So looking at this list here, it's hard to really pinpoint, but for certain, Vincent Short, Chris Klein, Tom Parrish, Jason Steptoe, David Bradford. I think Bobby Hamilton Jr. got a piece of this. Nicholas Hunt. Will Hewitt, Dominic Bettini, all involved in this in some form or fashion. Eddie Rose, of course, with that huge hit. Mark Truxell leaving the pits, as well as Chris Klein. He'll be back on pit lane. We are on the 1 to go, so next time by, back under green flag conditions. Lap 25. Still with 23 cars on the lead lap. Out of the 26 that took the green. Pace car hits pit lane.
Green flag.
And green in the air. Will Jones on the gas. Colt trying to put the power down. Spins the tires a little bit. Field still coming up to speed down the back straightaway. Will Jones leads Colt Ansley and Van Blaricom. Kimber Short, the top 5. I told you Short would be okay. Didn't hit anything. Got the caution. Was able to regroup and get back out there. Big time trouble into turn number 3. Thomas McMullen involved again.
Okay, quickly tell me what you think you had there.
Caution on the speedway for the 3rd time tonight. Thomas McMullen looks like he was hooked up the racetrack. David Bradford involved as well. Matt Nicholson in the 10 in trouble also. Let's see what happened here. I don't know if Thomas got pushed down the bottom of the racetrack and just kind of got hooked after the fact. The 69, unfortunately, involved in this one again, and he's the pushing car in this instance. I want to see if I can get a better angle on it. Maybe a view from the blimp. Let's take a look. Yeah, big push, and it was off center, and it shot McMullen down the racetrack. Miller didn't check up, and then the rest is history. Everybody else piling in. While we're under caution, let's get you an update here of the Cup race at Nashville Super Speedway. Ryan Blaney is your leader. Hamlin runs 2nd. Joey Logano 3rd. Eric Jones 4th. William Byron 5th. Carson Hocevar 6th. Chastain 7th. Bubba Wallace 8th. Kyle Larson up to 9th. Kyle Busch 10th. 218 laps complete of 300. That's the Cup Series update from Nashville Super Speedway as they run currently. Bobby Hamilton Jr. getting some pit work completed here. 4 tires and fuel, maybe some repairs. Still a quick stop for Bobby, 14:62. And you can tell he set that thing up. Rear end squatting all the way to the ground. Get that spoiler out of the air. Got 15 people watching in the broadcast. That's That's some, but we've only got 5 thumbs up, so only 5 people have hit that like button so far. So while we're under caution, check it out, hit the thumbs up, the like button here in the YouTube chat, or YouTube stream that is. It's free to do, and it helps us quite a bit. It pushes the video out to some wider audiences, some fresh eyeballs for viewing on the channel, or maybe even just potential drivers that may be interested in running with the ProSim Racing Alliance. Also, if you're new to Track Limits Network, go ahead and click that subscribe button. So we'll get the restart here. This time by, it'll be lap 30. As they run, it'll be Will Jones, Cole Ansley, Keenan Kimber, John Van Blaricombe, Vincent Short in 5th, Derek Runge, Joshua Ingram, Will Hewitt, Tom Barish, Eddie Rose. That's your current top 10. And further down, it's the 100 Ford of Nick Hunt, Chris Klein 12th, 13th Frank Griffith, Bobby Jr. in 14th, Alan DeFries 15th, Jason Steptoe 16th, 17th is Mark Truxell, 18th Rodney Roberts, Matt Nicholson 19th, 20th David Bradford, Scott Millard 21st, and LZ Daly running in the 22nd spot. Those are your lead lap machines as they run. Let's try it again here. Lap 30 about to go up on the board. The pace car is in pit lane.
Green flag, green
Barney
flag.
waves the green. We're back underway. Jones on the gas. Switches up to the outside lane this time. Gets away pretty clean. Almost too clean. It's too far out in front here. They're going to reel him back in. Keenan Kimber to the outside of Cole Ansley with drafting help from Vincent Short. Field has reeled Will Jones back in. Kimber now to the outside, sticks his nose just ahead of the 46. Short a few feet now off the back bumper of the 65 in turns 3 and 4. Kimber still just a foot or so ahead of Will Jones, but now Jones takes it back, exit at turn number 4. I gotta say it though, these cars do not look very stable here. I don't know if it's a matter of the setup or the new style ARCA car, but guys are all over the racetrack, up and down, up and down. Battle for the lead, still seesaw back and forth. Jones and Kimber. Kimber in the outside, the number 65, the Bojangles Toyota. Will Jones on the bottom in the Monster Energy Camry. Now Kimber gets clear, bumps off the nose of the 15, comes down in front of Will Jones. Now Vincent Short will lead the outside lane. Short now able to draft his way to the race lead. At the stripe, the 15 will lead. Ingram now second. Kimber trying to fill the gap, keeping Ingram up top, but that seems to be the place everybody wants to be right now. That's how both last two lead changes occurred, from the outside. Ingram had the opportunity to drop down in front of Short, keeps it up on the top ahead of Will Hewitt. Ingram maintaining the race lead. It seems the outside is the place to be, at least for the time being. Not a whole lot of help up there, but it seems to be working. Ingram able to stay out in front, but now the bottom line starting to move with Kimber pushing Vincent short on the low side. Ingram short, Hewitt, Kimber, Jones, and Rose. That's your top 6. We'll go on board here with Kimber. He rides in the second spot behind Vince Short. Do we have trouble? We do. Eddie Rose hits the wall hard on the entrance. No, the exit of pit lane up the racetrack a bit. And here comes David Bradford. Caution comes out.
Hold your position. I know, man. I think we need to start putting like an age limit on racing or something, you know?
So caution on the speedway again now for the 4th time. Eddie Rose trying to limp his number 88 Blue Ribbon machine back to pit lane. Let's take a look. I'll have to back this one up as the caution came out late as Eddie was still slipping and sliding up the racetrack. This one started way early. They're 3 wide here. Eddie Rose on the outside. Looks like Chris Klein in the middle. And Eddie starts to turn down, but doesn't have the room to go as far as he went. He gets into Chris Klein, and then, well, the rest is history. Straightens Eddie out for a moment. Steptoe drops it down to the apron to avoid. Others going through the grass. But then the 9 gets into Eddie. Both drivers will head down into this inside safer barrier on the exit of pit lane. Roberts manages to avoid it, but Eddie Rose unable to do so. He pounds that wall pretty hard. Locks him up. And as he starts to come back up the racetrack, that's when the caution comes out. Certainly suspension damage on that 88 machine. Very difficult to direct where you need that car to go, but he had him locked up. He's doing the best he could. So, pit stops here under caution, just about halfway here at Daytona. Short down and away, fuel only for the 15. He'll get back out in front. Vince very cognizant of the fact track position is important, especially the way this race has played out in the first half of it. We've had a few cautions. Vince's mindset here is to stay out in front, not get caught mid-pack and get caught in somebody else's mess. Granted, he was turned on that one restart while leading. An ill-timed push from Chris Klein sent him down to the infield paved runoff. He's lucky enough to draw a caution after that with the larger wreck on the entrance to turn 3 just about right after. So it looks like Short will be the leader here. You see Thomas McMullen, he is behind the pace car. He'll likely get a wave around here when we get to the 1 to go. Just to keep everybody abreast here, when we go back racing, we are due for our track limit side-by-side break. We will not be in full commercial. It'll be a side-by-side. You'll still be able to see the action as we run some commercials. We do that just after halfway usually, most of these races if we can. But Keenan Kimber is going to head down pit lane here. So we are on the one to go. Front row is going to be Vincent Short and Will Jones. Row 2 will be Will Hewitt, Tom Barish. Row 3, Chris Klein, Cole Ansley, Alan DeFries in the 56, and Josh Ingram. New scheme for Alan DeFries. Still the monster colors, but a little more color added to that number 71. Looking good. That'll be Hunt and Van Blericom. 6 of LZ Daly, Mark Truxell, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Derek Runge, Keenan Kimber, Frank Griffith, and David Bradford and Jason Steptoe.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Vincent Short hard on the throttle here. Quick reaction by Will Jones. Not able to stay alongside. Had an opportunity to duck down behind the 15, but Will Hewitt fills the gap. Hewitt, though, had no drafting partner, but now Barish drops down to the low side, so a 3-car draft. Nobody to work with Will Jones. Jones going to wait for Colt Ansley and Josh Ingram to catch up. Meanwhile, Short out to a pretty big advantage out of turn number 2. He's going to regret that. These guys are going to reel him in. He's going to have to block that high lane. Will Jones with a run. Short closes the door. Big push from the 46. Now we're 3 wide for the lead. Will Hewitt on the bottom. Jones in the middle and Short up top. Short will be the loser here. He's going to battle back, though. Not quite clear of the 46, and Jones losing ground. The side draft working well. Didn't take much, but Jones still has Vincent Short tucked in behind. Will Hewitt back to the front. 33 with the lead at lap 39. Tom Barish is second. Chris Klein runs third. We're going to step aside, get our track limits side by side out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Daytona National Speedway, Bobby Hamilton Jr. has taken over the top spot. Ingram second, Will Jones short, and Griffith the top 5. 43 laps about to be in the books as they work out of turn number 4. Battle for the lead now. Will Jones out in front. Bobby slipped back to third or fourth here. Frank Griffith to the outside of the 25. Short now up to the second spot. 26 laps to go here from Daytona International Speedway. Jones just will not quit. Neither will Vincent Short, but will the handling stay for the 15? I don't know if he's taken tires at all up to this point. To make 2 stops? No, I don't think so. I've seen him pit twice, and I haven't seen tires go on the 15. We'll have to keep a close eye on how well Vincent Short can hang on to that machine as the laps wind down. Bobby Jr., though, battling back. Takes the top spot back away. Ingram back to second. Jones third. Fourth is Frank Griffith. Short running fifth. Top 10 all in their own pack here as they cross start finish. 25 to go. On board with Bobby Hamilton Jr. looking back at the field. Bobby gets out about a half car length over Ingram. Ingram may have checked up there to build a little bit of a run out of 4. Now Short swaps lanes up ahead of Will Jones. Alan DeFries will fill the gap in behind Frank Griffith. Bottom lane has more power, has the numbers right now, a little more organized than the outside. The outside just doesn't have that momentum. One less car. They're going to have to tuck back in behind the 55 of Babinchak if they want to maintain. Top 10 relatively comfortable with single file, at least for the time being. Ingram thought about going up the racetrack. I don't know if that was planned or not. It seemed like he was trying to hang on to the race car, but still stays in line behind the 25 down the backstretch. Top 10 still single file. Top 9, that is. Chris Klein, the 10th place machine, leading this second pack. Had a Will Hewitt and LZ Daly and others. Looking at the last pit stop for all these drivers, it came around lap 35 to 36. We talked in the open here how the fuel window is between 30 and 35 laps. If you're going to lead this whole run all the way to the finish, you're definitely going to run the risk of running out of fuel. So it's going to come down to, do we get a caution or do we save fuel? Either way, it's going to be interesting to watch as Hamilton Jr. still leads. Albert Anderson making a good point in the chat, says Ingram kind of testing the waters there, trying to see if anybody's willing to go with him. Talking about Ingram jumping up the outside lane by about half a car width, seeing if anybody would mirror that move. Ingram, though, still in tow. Ingram takes a look again. There it is. Griffith does go with him for now, but Ingram tucks back in behind the 25 machine. Lap car up ahead as Ingram jumps to the outside of Hamilton Jr. again. Changes his mind. No dancing partner yet. Ingram's got to be careful. You don't want to go up to that top lane and be all by yourself and then get freight train. You go from 2nd to 9th in a hurry. Oh, trouble, the 9. The lap car gets into Griffith. Griffith straightens it back out. Slows the pack, blasts apart this group of leaders. Griffith will slip to the 9th spot in front of that lap car that effectively was the precursor to that incident. We stay green, though. 19 laps to go. Griffith trying to get some speed up here. Don't know if that contact damaged that race car. Griffith now back to 15th. Definitely some damage. He's going to have to stay mixed up in this pack. Meanwhile, back up front, Bobby Hamilton Jr. continues to lead Ingram and now Alan DeFries. Babanchak and Vincent Short rounding out the top 5. Will Jones back in 6th, and David Bradford not giving up. Hanging tough in that 7th position for the time being. He's been involved in a couple incidents here this afternoon, not of his own doing. So once again, 3 packs all separated. Five-car draft in between the leaders and the back markers, at least for the time being. 7-10 of John Van Blericom leads the pack on the low side with Thomas McMullen to the outside. Thomas, however, the 22nd place machine, he is not a lead lap car. First car 1 lap down if we were to catch a caution. Frank Griffith now all over the back of the 0-2. Some smoke just up ahead. We have a slow car here on the back straightaway. Don't know if they've had an incident with... Oh, runs right into the back of Will Hewitt. I don't know if Hewitt blew up.
Caution, caution.
Caution is out with 17
nice.
laps
Pull
to
your tires off,
go.
get your fans on.
Somebody did not get the message there, and unfortunately, they have some big problems as a result. Will Hewitt, we saw a puff of smoke. Let's get a look. So Will was already slowed. I'm going to back this way up. I think he blew up. Yep. He's losing power out of turn 2. He lost the engine. And then they all just drive right into him. I don't know why Will wasn't below that yellow line there, knowing the engine had expired. mean, he's a whole lane off the bottom. So our 5th caution of the race here with 16 laps to go. Who's going to bite? Surprised to see Bobby come down here unless he just was really that short on fuel. So that'll give the race lead to Josh Ingram. David Bradford to come down and pit. Mark Truxell, Derek Runge, Scott Millard, Keenan Kimber, Elsie Daly, Nick Hunt. Interesting turn of events here at Daytona. Well, while we have an opportunity here under caution again with 15 to go at Daytona, let's give you an update from Nashville Super Speedway. The Cup race, 23 laps to go. Blaney's still out in front. Hocevar is second. Hamlin third, Logano fourth, William Byron fifth. Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace battling for the 6th spot. Larson 8th, Chastain 9th, Christopher Bell 10th. $24 watching, 8 likes, guys. Help us out. Hit that like button while you've got an opportunity here while we're not at green flag conditions. Like button helps, and it's free to do. Nobody gets charged. Get some fresh eyeballs on the channel, some fresh eyes on the league. It's a win-win across the board. We certainly do appreciate it. Help us out. Hit that like button. So pace car lights are out. Green flag coming the next time by. It'll be 13 laps to go. That'll be the shootout to the end if we run it green to the finish. Big if. Getting down to crunch time at super speedways. Who knows? We might make it to the end, but I'm not going to put any bets on it. All right, here we go. Pace car hits pit lane. Ready for the restart. Barney with the green in hand.
Green flag.
There it is. Green flag. We're back underway at Daytona. 13 laps to go. Ingram back out in front. Babinchak runs second. Will Jones third. Battle for the 4 spot. Chris Klein, Alan DeFries side by side. Klein on the bottom in the 51 U-Haul machine. He fills the gap alongside Will Jones. Twelve laps remain. Ingram out in front. Everybody up to full song. Vincent Short running in 8th, just kind of waiting in the wings for an opportunity. Oh, trouble on the back straightaway. Vincent Short in this one, not lucky this time. Alan DeFries getting caught in this also. Will Jones, Frank Griffith. Bobby Jr. may have gotten a piece of this as well. Jones with heavy damage to the front end of his number 46. Alan DeFries still working through the grass. Frank Griffith stationary. He'll tow to pit lane. So with 11 to go, we're under yellow again. Let's take a look. Griffith just cheats up the racetrack into the 46. Yeah, I don't know there. I don't know if Griffith just didn't have the spotter turned on or didn't hear him or didn't get the call. Either way, message not delivered, not clear. Vincent Short, I believe, still had the fast repair, so he's going to get his car fixed. It's still a long shot, but he is not out of this. Sitting on 10 to go right now. Lights are still on the pace car. We should get the 1 to go this time by, which puts us with an 8-lap shootout when we take the green. Working yellow here, 9 laps to go. Pace car lights are off, so as we expected, a restart at 8 laps to go. Another update here from Nashville Super Speedway. Cup race, 6 laps to go. Blaney still with the lead. 3 seconds on Hocevar, Hamlin, Logano, Byron, Wallace, Jones, Larson, Reddick, and Chastain. Now 5 to go. Pace car makes the left turn into pit lane.
Green flag.
Ingram on the jump. Might be too far out in front here. This is not necessarily a good thing for the 56, as that pack in the draft will reel him in quickly. Babinchak, Klein, Bradford, Daly, the top 5. And there it is. They reel him in quickly here off of turn number 2. It's going to jack up the inside lane here a bit. Hopefully they can hold it together. Truxell gets shuffled to the bottom of the racetrack. One car through the grass. Battle for the race lead now. Babinchak and Bradford side by side. Bradford the number 13 on the bottom with drafting help from the 99 and Derek Runge. Bradford put the car on pole here tonight. Had his share of issues. Has battled back and now sees the race lead yet again with 7 laps to go. Ingram all over the back bumper of the 99. Ingram slides up the track just a bit, almost gets into the door. Babinchak pulls it down to the bottom. Everybody getting tightened up here. 6 laps to go and they cross the stripe. Oh, some trouble there. The 6 making some contact. I think that might have been Keenan Kimber. Shoots Kimber up the racetrack and out of position just a bit. No, that was Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. They got shuffled out to the outside. Continues on, no caution, no wreck, nothing to worry about yet. Bradford and Runge now the top 2. A little bit of cloud cover falling on the racetrack here late in the going. Less than 6 laps to go. Bradford out in front. Runge in second, just inches off the back bumper of the 13 as they work through turn 4. Ingram steps on a line and gets turned. No, he straightens it out. Coming back on the racetrack, and now he got trouble. Didn't even catch exactly who it was. It might have been the 55 that got turned down in through the grass, but we stay green. Mike Babinchak was the one that got turned down into the pit lane. 4.5 laps to go. Bradford out in front, drafting help from the 99. Now to the outside, Bobby Hamilton Jr. trying to work a way around the 13 with some drafting help from the 6 of Daly. 4 laps to go from Daytona International Speedway, and the caution is out. We got trouble just outside the tri-oval. Will Jones, Vincent Short. Millard involved. The 100 of Hunt in it. Mark Truxell as well with damage on all 4 corners of the number 5 machine. And this will set us up for our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Let's get a look. They were 4 wide at the stripe. They came together. Short gets right hooked up the racetrack. Rodney Roberts, Hunt, and Truxell. Jones gets a piece of it late. Update from Nashville Super Speedway. The race is over. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to know, mute your television. Ryan Blaney in Victory Lane. Osavar second, Hamlin third, Logano fourth, Byron fifth. Wallace, Jones, Larson, Reddick, Bell, the top 10. Still behind the iRacing pace car. The lights are still on, so we're actually going to step aside here, get a short break out of the way. We'll be back with a restart after this. Stay with us.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back at Daytona National Speedway, 3 laps to go. Our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. David Bradford, Bobby Jr., Derek Runge, LZ Daly, Chris Klein, the top 5. The way this works, we'll get the green. If the caution comes out before the leader takes the white, we'll line them up and we'll try it again. We'll do this up to 3 times. However, if the leader gets to the white flag, crosses the line at the white, and the caution comes out after, well, then that's it. It's going to be the race. Again, we'll do this up to 3 tries. Pace car is in.
Ready, green, green, green.
Down the back straightaway, Bradford leads Kimber, Klein, Runge, and Ingram, and it's all swapping places. One car below the yellow line here as the 65 of Kimber jumps on a line for the race lead, but no help. Now Bobby Jr. jumps to the top side. He'll pull it, and we got a car around. Still no caution. The 710 gets turned and spun, but we don't get the yellow. We stay green and come into this stripe. Final lap. White flag in the air. David Bradford's got to hold off Chris Klein, Ingram, Kimber, and Hamilton Jr. Oh, we got big trouble. Bobby's in the wall. He straightens it back out, but he's missing his nose. It's going to come down to Bradford and Klein. Unless those guys behind can draft up and put on a challenge. Down the backstretch for the final time. Swapping lanes is Ingram. No drafting help for the 56. Kimber loses connection but switches lanes now as he comes back in. Bradford tried to close the door but not in time. The outside lane is moving and really no help on the bottom. A 2-car draft versus 4. Final lap in turn 4 for the final time. Who's going to win it? Kimber closes the door on Bradford. It's side-by-side battle for the race win. Ingram, Kimber coming to the stripe. Who's going to get it? It's Ingram. Ingram takes the win over Barish, Kimber, McMullen, and Bradford. What a finish here at Daytona. Joshua Ingram takes the checkered flag. He was strong all night, and he made the right calls on that final lap to work his way to the front. Ingram locking him up here, slowing things down here at start finish. That'll do it for the celebration here on the front stretch. We're going to step aside, get a break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Daytona National Speedway, race 1 of the PSR ARCA series in the books, and Josh Ingram takes the checkered flag. Let's get a word with the driver of the number 56 machine and get his take on how this one went down. Josh, it's Steve with Track Limits Network. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Josh, you got me there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Josh, congratulations, man. Picking up the win here tonight. Thrilling finish. I don't think you lucked into this one at all. You were up near the front most of the night. 6th place starting position, but man, what a move there on that final lap in that green-white checkered. Walk us through the closing laps and how you got that 56 machine out front.
Well, I just had a good car all day. It had a fast Ford. I want to thank Stinger Motorsports, Frank Griffin, for letting me drive that car for him, and Bobby Hamilton, and all the 4 guys for helping with the setups. But I had a good run coming down the back stretch there, and didn't really have a whole lot of help to start with, and I just took a shot at it. Well, I'll go, and either somebody will help me or they won't. So, and I did. The 65 Keenan, he gave me a shot and got me out front, and then he went for it and didn't quite have enough. So that's pretty much it. I just took a shot at it, and it worked.
Well, worked it did. You pick up the checkered flag here to start the season here in the PSR Open ARCA Series. Looking forward now to the Homestead Miami Speedway next week. We're sticking it here in Florida still, but just going a little further south. How do you prepare for Homestead Miami Speedway next week?
I just got to get with the team and get with the 4 guys and just turn laps and get the setup right. And, there's a lot different race than what this was. There's a lot more strategy involved, a lot more setup work, and but we got a good group of guys working on that, and so just prepare and move on and hope for the best, really.
Well, it's certainly all you can do, Josh. Congratulations yet again on the win here in Daytona. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
I'll go back again and thank Frank Griffith and Stinger Motorsports for letting me drive his fast forward this weekend.
All right, Josh, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
It's Josh Ingram, your race winner here at Daytona. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the 055. That'd be Tom Barish, coming to us, I believe, from the NTRL. We'll pull him up into the booth and get a word with our runner-up. Tom, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Steve?
It's going good, Tom. Congratulations, man. I remember calling a race back in the Holler Boys Racing TV days where, man, you took a wild ride upside down. I believe it was here at Daytona, night race, and that truck, it was a car. It was a 55 number there, into pit lane, up on 2 wheels. But, man, here it's only 2 because you finish second. Walk us through the closing laps of this one. How did you work your way through from a solid 8th place starting position?
Well, there at the end, I didn't have enough fuel to make it, and I think it was the second to last caution, and Chris, my teammate, talked me into just going ahead and putting 4 tires on because I was going to the back regardless, and I just got real lucky, man. Was able to weave my way through there at the end. There was some trouble there, and luckily I didn't get into that, and we were able to finish with a green flag.
Well, with all that said, I don't have a whole lot of laps in these newer ARCA cars anywhere with the exception of maybe a road course. How does those 4 tires kind of react at a place like Daytona or Talladega? Does it really provide that much more of an advantage?
Yeah, for me, I could tell a big difference coming through the field. It seemed like I could go where I wanted to. And usually at Daytona, it's not that big of a deal. With the fixed set or the open setup, I've never really run that many open setups, so it was a little bit different.
Well, paid off in the end. A runner-up finish to start the season. Certainly a great points day as you head into Homestead, Miami next week. What is the mindset going into a place like Homestead? Certainly a very unique racetrack. Really not much like anything else that we run at throughout the course of the season. How do you get ready for our second race of the year?
Just try to stay out of trouble and stay consistent, not burn the tires up. That's my worst enemy at tracks like that, is I will eat the right front off of it.
Well, with that said, we wish you the best of luck going into next week. Is there anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, Chris Klein, my teammate, Mark Collins was in there helping us out, and Derek stayed in there as long as he could. He messed his setup up, tried to race with the qualifying setup, and that didn't work. And all the guys running the league, it's my first time here. I appreciate it. Everything seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Tom. Well, thanks for talking to us. Congrats again, man. Good luck next week.
Thanks, Steve.
As Tom Barish, your runner-up here in Daytona. Last but not least, we'll talk to our 3rd place finisher. That'll be Keenan Kimber, driver of the number 65 Toyota Camry with Bojangles on board. Keenan, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us? Keenan Kimber, it's Steve in the booth. You got me? Well, he's here, but I don't know if he can not hear us or if he can't talk. Nevertheless, we'll go over it quickly here. Keenan Kimber, of course, a 3rd place finish here tonight. Started, I believe, in the 22nd spot. Drove his way through. Was very quick once he got towards the front of the field. Certainly had something for him there. Just came up a couple of positions short, but still a great way to start the season off. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a word here with Keenan. Tried to pull him up. He's in the booth, but I don't know if he cannot hear us or if he cannot talk. But nevertheless, Still a strong run for the driver of the number 65, so congratulations, Keenan Kimber. With that said here, we're going to take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to Josh Ingram and Tom Barish already. Tried to get Keenan Kimber, but was unable to do so. But there it is, Josh Ingram, Tom Barish, Keenan Kimber, Thomas McMullen was 4th. David Bradford came home in the 5th position. 6th place was Chris Klein. Will Jones was 7th. Cole Ansley was 8th. Mike Babanchak was 9th. The 100 machine of Nicholas Hunt was 10th. LZ Daly finished 11th. Derek Runge was 12th. Rodney Roberts finished in the 13th spot. Bobby Hamilton Jr. 14th after a late race incident. John Van Blaricom was 15th. Will Hewitt 16th. Scott Millard was 17th. Frank Griffith came home in the 18th position. 19th place was Vincent Short. 20th went to Mark Truxell. 21st was Alan DeFries. 22nd, Matt Nicholson. Jason Steptoe was 23rd. Eddie Rose, 24th. Dominic Bettini was 25th. And last but not least, Derek Welch, as you heard, put the qualifying setup in it for the race. His night over early after a near-miss incident, but ends up calling it quits here. 26th place for the NTR driver, DW Derek Welch. That'll wrap it up for us here tonight as far as the broadcast side of things are concerned. Congratulations again to Josh Ingram for taking the win here tonight. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Stream chat wasn't super busy tonight. Let's work on that for Homestead next week. Again, you guys are more than welcome to come in here and jaw with each other, shoot the bull, cheer on your driver, just anything. And just keep it PG for everybody out there watching who's don't want people getting angry with us, that kind of sort of thing. But we appreciate you being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Certainly, if you're new to Track Limits Network, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the action. We're busy. We're going to be Sunday through Wednesday here pretty soon. Right now, Mondays are open for the time being. It'll be IROC Challenge Series time before you know it, I think coming up in August. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we've got the Numb Thumbs Racing League and the Vigilante Racing League on Wednesday night. So lots of action there with the trucks coming up here pretty soon. I think IROC will be running these same ARCA cars as well. So plenty of action to follow here at Track Limits. We certainly appreciate it. Please come down, hang out, say hey, even if it's not your normal league night. Just keep us company. We appreciate it. With that said, congrats again, Josh Ingram taking the win here at Daytona. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys at the next one. Homestead Miami Speedway.